They told us the ancients were primitive. They told us their rituals were nothing more than superstition, their stories nothing but myth. But what if everything we've been taught is wrong? What if those rituals and stories were not fantasy at all, but memories of contact with beings from beyond this earth? The question may sound outrageous, but the deeper you dig into humanity's oldest traditions, the more impossible it becomes to dismiss. And once you see the connections, once you realize how many cultures share the same impossible details, you cannot unsee them. The ancients were telling us something. The question is, are we finally ready to listen? Across the globe, thousands of miles apart, with oceans and centuries separating them, ancient civilizations passed down traditions that point to one shocking possibility: we were never alone. From the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of Mesoamerica, from the icy peaks of the Himalayas to the plains of Africa, we hear the same voices whispering across time, voices that speak of gods descending from the sky, of gifts of knowledge, of fire, of agriculture, of mathematics, and of laws that shaped human society itself. How did cultures that never met tell the same story? Why did they describe the same beings? And how could they know things that were supposedly impossible for their time? Take the Dogon people of Mali. For centuries, their oral tradition described a small, dense star orbiting Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. They knew its orbit. They knew it was incredibly heavy. They knew it was invisible to the naked eye. They called it Sirius B, and modern science didn't confirm its existence until the 20th century, when powerful telescopes proved them right. How is it possible? The Dogons say they learned this from the nano-amphibious beings who descended from the heavens in a ship that splashed into the water. Are we truly expected to believe this is just coincidence? Now travel thousands of miles to ancient Mesoamerica. The Mayans worshipped Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god, who, according to their legends, descended from the sky and taught them writing, astronomy, and engineering. In Aztec tradition, the same figure appears as Quetzal. And if you look eastward, in ancient Mesopotamia, we find the Anunnaki, those who came down from the heavens. They too taught humanity agriculture, law, and civilization itself. Why is the story the same everywhere? And why are these beings always connected to the stars? Look at ancient India. The Vedas describe beings called devas who arrived in Vimanas, chariots powered by technologies we still don't fully understand. They battled across the sky with weapons that sound eerily similar to nuclear explosions, blinding flashes, scorching winds, cities reduced to ash. Archaeologists in India have uncovered sites where the sand has been fused into glass, as if by extreme heat. Are these echoes of ancient wars, or just poetic exaggerations? If they were exaggerations, why do they so perfectly match the effects of weapons that wouldn't exist for thousands of years? And what about Egypt? The pyramids stand as eternal monuments, their construction still not fully explained. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned within a fraction of a degree to true north, something we would struggle to replicate today without modern technology. Inside, its dimensions encode mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio. What ancient Egyptians' master mathematicians were they given this knowledge? And why do we find pyramids on every continent? Mexico, China, Sudan, built by cultures supposedly unaware of each other? Why did humanity suddenly decide to build the same structures everywhere? Structures that still baffle modern engineers. The mystery deepens when we examine ancient art in Valcamonica, Italy. Cave paintings depict figures with helmets and antennas. In Australia, Aboriginal rock art shows beings with large eyes, bulbous heads, and what look like suits. In Abydos, Egypt, temple carvings seem to show helicopters and submarines. In Palenque, Mexico, a stone carving on King Pakal's tomb depicts him lying in what looks like a spacecraft, complete with control panels and flames beneath. How do we explain this? Were our ancestors simply imaginative? Or were they recording what they actually saw? Even the oldest traditions we still practice today may hold traces of these encounters. Why did so many ancient cultures obsess over preserving the body after death? Egyptians perfected mummification. The Chinchorro people of Chile were mummifying their dead 2,000 years earlier. Why did distant cultures all believe the body needed to be preserved for the soul's journey? Did they witness beings who could live forever and try to imitate them? Were they trying to unlock immortality, copying something they saw from the visitors who came from the stars? And then there's the flood. Nearly every culture on Earth tells the same story. A great deluge that destroyed humanity, followed by gods or survivors who emerged to rebuild civilization. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the Bible's story of Noah, the Aztec tale of the flood sent by Tlaloc, the Hindu story of Manu, warned by a god to build a boat. Are these all separate myths? Or are they fragments of a global memory, a cataclysm witnessed by humanity and remembered through stories, with the same mysterious beings guiding our survival afterward? Consider the Nazca Lines in Peru, enormous geoglyphs etched into the desert monkeys. hummingbirds, spiders, so massive they can only be seen properly from the sky. How and why did an ancient culture, without flight, design images only visible from above? Were they messages, beacons, or perhaps runways for those who came from the heavens? And why does Tiwanaku's gateway of the sun in Bolivia encode astronomical cycles stretching tens of thousands of years, longer than the civilization itself supposedly lasted? How could they possibly have known? The Hopi people of North America speak of the Kushina, spiritual beings who came from the sky to teach survival and agriculture. In Polynesia, legends describe Tangaroa, a god who descended from the heavens and then returned to the stars. In the Amazon, tribes perform ceremonies to honor sky spirits who protect them. These are not random stories, they are living traditions, echoing the same theme. Someone came down, gave us knowledge, and left, and our ancestors remembered. So the question becomes, if these visitors came, where are they now? Did they leave, promising to return? Or are they still here, hidden in plain sight, guiding humanity from the shadows? Some researchers believe the sudden leaps in human evolution, the explosion of art, the rise of agriculture, the invention of writing were triggered by outside intervention, that humanity was not simply evolving on its own, but being nudged, pushed, accelerated by teachers who wanted us to rise. Could it be that even now, in our own age, the same process continues? Look at our world today. Governments are admitting the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena. Military pilots describe craft that defy the laws of physics. Former officials suggest the truth is being hidden. For the first time in history, mainstream science entertains the possibility of alien life. Could this be the moment the ancients warned us about, the moment when the truth comes back into the light? If ancient traditions were simply myths, how do we explain their precision, their astronomical accuracy, their shared details across thousands of miles? How do we explain their obsession with the sky, with beings who descended, with knowledge far beyond their time? What if the myths were never myths at all? What if they were records? And what if the visitors who inspired them are still watching, still waiting, ready to reveal themselves once more? Because maybe the greatest cover-up of all is not that aliens exist, but that they've been here all along, and the ancients tried to tell us. They carved it in stone, they preserved it in chants, they encoded it in rituals so their message would never die. And now, thousands of years later, we are finally on the edge of understanding. The real question isn't whether aliens gave us our ancient traditions. The real question is, what happens when they return?